Hello and welcome to my channel. This is Lisa with Lisa's Faith and Budget Planning channel. I'm excited to be here today. The reason I'm excited here today, as you can see, is I have March budget sheets ready to go, already up in my Etsy store. If you're new to my channel and not familiar, I do have an Etsy store online. I sell these budget sheets that you see me use at my shop. It's called Lisa's Faith Budget Planning, where I have PDF budget sheets and budget stickers I'm just starting to get into. I haven't quite got the stickers up for March yet, but I will. And yeah, this is me doing a new releases video on the March budget sheets, and I absolutely love them. I just thought they're whimsical and cute and pretty and light after, being here it is mid-February and it's dark and dreary and rainy. I just needed something that looked uplifting, and this is what I came up with. It is very cute. So my March budget sheets here have little clovers and flowers, and they're, I guess you would call a watercolor drawing. So I loved that. It just looks like it was stamped and really cute. Just, I don't know, it just felt right. And it felt good. So this is the design I chose. Now this is my March calendar. I have the dated calendar. If you're interested in an undated calendar, please let me know, and let me know if it's a 1-page or 2-page. I'm kind of interested to see what you guys are interested in. Leave comments in the comment section below. Tell me what you like and don't like about the products, but this is what I'm doing for this month, and I absolutely love it. I will be actually using these budget sheets, and I don't know if you've ever noticed in my planner, I actually tape them together because I only print on one side. If you print at home, you can print front to back on my budget sheets. You can print these in black and white. You can print them in any way you want. They're yours to print once you purchase. But yeah, I love these. And this one's already fully dated. And I can come up with an undated one and things like that. 1-page, 2-page calendar kind of thing. But I love my calendars. So there's that. So here comes the first budget sheet that I have. It's a single listing by itself, and it's a variable and fixed with 10 lines for variable, 10 lines for fixed, and 4 lines for income. And it's a simple budget sheet you can do every month in order to kind of see what your month is going to look like. See how you are doing. Are you going to be over budget, under budget? Do you have enough income coming in and taking care of the things that you need? Now, if you have more than 10 variable or fixed that you need to work with, I do have a 2-page budget sheet with the same type of listing. It's separate listing. Here's the first page, and this is the second page, and then you will get this listing, and it has a little section for notes at the bottom, which I absolutely love. And I only did it on this one because I just had that blank space and I didn't know what else to do with it. But you have 20 variable, 20 fixed, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 income, and the greens and the peaches and the pink kind of color. It just looks beautiful. I loved how this turned out. I'm excited to look at these every month for the month of March and just kind of have this new fresh look and come back to working in my budget sheets, which is what I love about these budget sheets. You get a new look every month, and you are willing to come back. If you need something decorative, but you don't want to do stickers, or you just don't want to spend a lot on it, these are only $1 or $2, $1.50 to $2 for these budget sheets. My larger 5 or more sheets are $3.50, but the rest of them are $1.50, $2. So it's very reasonably priced. You get the graphics, you get to print them however many times you want to print. So if you want to use this budget sheet for the entire year, you can just print them off every month, and you only spent the $2 for the one-time expense. So that is awesome. I love that. So, and I never put the month, even though it's reminiscent of March because of the closers, but this is the only time I put the month March on my budget sheets. So there is that. I got my sheets I got to put off to the side here. So I have a pile of sheets of what I'm keeping for myself and going to be using in my planner, and what I'm not using. And I don't use the variable and fixed, but I do use an income and expenses sheet. Here's the single listing income with 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5, and then 20 lines of expenses. I try to keep them conformed as much as possible. So yeah, just your total income, your expenses, you have your budgeted column, your actual column, all of my sheets have that. So you can plan here what your planned amount is. If you use every dollar, it's what it's called. Your budgeted amount, what you think you're going to spend, and then what you actually do spend, and if it was over or under. Now you can tally at the bottom to keep it all straight. I typically don't, but you can, and you can keep track of your budget that way. But you have your total expenses line and then income minus expenses here at the bottom. And that is critical. That is important. So this is how I do my budget, but I actually don't use this sheet. I use a 2-page sheet because by the end of the month, I have so many things coming out. I go over 20 lines. So yeah, there's that. So this is the actual sheet I'll be using. You'll see in my videos in the future. Income, expenses, all the way down. And then when I have unbudgeted items for the budget on my monthly view, I just keep adding after I've done my complete budget. So you'll see that in my videos. But same as the others, total expenses and then income minus expenses. Your income's here, your expenses are here. And very simple. Not a lot of tracking going back and forth. It's all in one place. Your budget amount, your actual amount, your over and under. So plenty of room to write what your expense is, however you want to write it. This is the one I'll be using for the month of March. The next thing I have is my favorite. I kind of got these out of order, so just a second. My paycheck to paycheck budgeting. And that you will get 5 pages with. So all 5 of these pages come together. I've debated whether I should do a 2-page listing and a 2 paychecks, 3 paychecks, and a 5 paycheck listing. But then I don't know how to price it, so I just kind of keep them bundled together. But I may do a 2 and 5 instead of doing the 3. Let me know in the comments below. What do you think about paycheck to paycheck budgeting and the listing? And should I just keep them all together bundled at one price for 5 paychecks? Or should I just keep one listing? And I may just do one that just says, now this just came to mind, real life here, paycheck, and then not even number it, or have a blank space over here for you to number it. That would be cool, because you can print it off you can get one listing, print it off as many times as you want. I think that would be a cool idea. So, let me know what you think of those ideas in the comments below. I'd love to hear feedback back from you on that. But paycheck to paycheck budgeting is using budgeting for actual income actually in your account. And that is what really can make or break your budget. When you know you have the physical cash and you budget right before that cash comes in, you know exactly, you get a pending deposit, or you have at least an estimate of what's going to be in your account for that paycheck. Just do a budget, and then you can track your actuals, and you can keep yourself reined in pretty good when you use these sheets to not go over in your pay and not paychecks and probably put more money towards debt or to savings or something like that that's important to you, that you actually want to spend your money on, not that you have to spend your money on. So that's what I love these sheets for. You get 4 income, 20 expenses, and what your budget is, what your actual over and under. I love that. That is just awesome. And they're just labeled paycheck 1, paycheck 2, 3, 4, and 5. So the last 2 I normally don't use. I usually have like 3 paychecks for my husband, the first of the month's check, and then every other Friday checks. So I'll put that off to the side, but I do love those. I use them all the time. The next thing I have after paycheck to paychecks is the weekly check-in. And it's a 2-page because some months have 5 weeks, some months don't. And sometimes we use a little bit of 1 month because of how the paydays fall. And then it gives you a 5-week to work with. So it doesn't all have to be in March. I mean, if you look at my January and February budgets, when I do my weekly check-ins, the last 3 days of the previous month was included in the first week, just because I weekly check in on every Friday. I go from Friday to Thursday for my budgets, and I write out over here notes on spending habits. I learned very quickly after starting this that I spend very heavy on groceries of the first 2 weeks of the month, not so much the last 2 weeks, because I stock up early and then I just shop through my, I still buy through so odds and ends stuff, week 3, week 4, or week 5, but most of the bulk of the meats and food and perishable stuff is bought in the first 2 weeks of the month. So I give myself more during that time than I do down here. And then you can kind of write out how you want to budget, kind of plan it out here and do the numbers and do the math. So I love the little notes section here. I just needed something to fill this side of the page too. That's why this note section happened, because I could not get week 5 in these categories. I do have 5 categories. I use 4 categories personally, and then I have an unbudgeted line that goes under on the 5th one. But you use your categories however you want. That makes sense, best sense for you. And I just love it. This is not something I expected to love, but once I started getting into it, I'm like, yeah, I need that weekly check-in. That's really cool. So there's that. Now, to go along with the weekly check-ins and the monthly budgets and the paycheck to paychecks, I have transaction logs, and you can use them in combination of anything. I like using them. I don't particularly use this transaction log. So this transaction log is a listing all by itself, and you can use this for anything. You can print this once and then title it whatever you want underneath, or just know what it is, or it's like a check register where you every day write down your transactions for the month, or you can use this all year long if you really love the print. So that's pretty cool too. But I have the date, the amount spent, the description of the amount, or description of what you bought, and then the balance. So it's just a transaction log where I typically write the first of the month. I put a 0 right here because I start fresh every month with a budget, and then I go budget amount for these dates, and then I go whatever the new budgeted amount that I have for whatever category I'm working with. I use that in all my transaction logs. I'll show you actually real quick what February's looks like. Now, I don't have this version, but I do have, let's see, there we go. I do have one, and you'll see this category in a minute, grocery household. So see, date, 0 amount, budgeted for these days, and then I gave myself $300. And then I deduct from that amount, and then when I refill it with the new paycheck, that's how I run my transaction logs. Now, you may run it completely different, and you just put the full amount for the month and just negative yourself out throughout the month. And that works too. But this is not one I actually use. But I do love it. It's a single listing by itself. And then I have this listing plus 7 others that are combined together in another listing that has, get this over here, transaction log. I'll put that to the side. Now, if you separate grocery and household purchases, I have just a grocery one and a household. Or like you saw a minute ago, I have a combination. I use this one, grocery household, and common categories for me, restaurants, miscellaneous items. I budget for miscellaneous, so that's what I have here, and gasoline. So all 7 of these sheets are, sorry, my little thing here is in the way and it's dragging, are one listing. You can get the transaction log by itself in one listing, and then in another listing, I have this with all these sheets put together, and trying to show all these off with you guys. There we go. Hopefully you can see them all. Oh, look at that. That's cute. So yeah, all of these come together in one listing, and you can use all of them, some of them, however you want to use it, whatever works best for you. I do know people like to separate grocery and household. I personally don't, so I have this one, and then you combine it for the rest. That is what I like here, and this is one listing. I'm going to take the top ones off here because that's what I actually use. There we go. And these others I'm going to put to the side. So the next thing I have in my listings is sinking funds. I love sinking funds. And you can use transaction logs with sinking funds. Some people use, if you watch Sarah Marie on YouTube with Sarah Marie Stickers, she actually does sinking funds with a transaction log, because she'll have things like for her children, each of them have a clothing category, and her husband have a clothing category, and they just kind of deduct out of it using the transaction log. So you can get the transaction log by itself and a sinking fund and use them together. That really works well. Or just the sinking funds. I use the sinking funds log to keep track of what's in my savings and what part of the savings goes to what category. So that's what I use there. I also have, and this is one of my popular sheets in my Etsy store. I sell more of those in my weekly check-ins and paycheck to paychecks. Those are the favorite budget sheets. Savings tracker is another favorite budget sheet. Love that. You got your date, your beginning balance, your plus or minus, and your ending. Same thing with savings tracker, except for it has a category instead of a date. Because usually when you do sinking funds, it's basically one savings account with many different categories within that savings account, and you're just tracking them here on the sheet. You have a beginning, what you added, what you subtracted, and your ending balance. And your ending balance is usually the next month's beginning balance. Same thing here with the savings tracker. I do both of these. I do videos on both of these. I just started doing my 6-month savings, and I'm so excited because I almost got 10% of what I want for our savings, and I will be going over that next week. It's going to be exciting. There's that. And then last but not least is a debt tracker. Or do I have one more? Oh, yeah. And then this is not the last one. I have one other one besides this. So I have the debt tracker. Debt, you list out your debts here, your starting balances, how much you paid, the interest that you paid on it, and your ending balance. So when you go into the next month, you can go, okay, look how I went down in these areas. This month ending balance was higher, and then I paid off quite a bit, or I paid off some and it went down. This can help keep you motivated. That's what a debt tracker is really good for. So there's that. I also printed a version. I just regular, no enhanced anything. I just printed it in black and white, and I thought it turned out cute. If you don't like printing in color, you can print my sheets in black and white. Even though you get them in color, all you gotta do is just change your printer settings for black and white. And I thought it looked cute. So that's what it looks like if you're interested, but obviously the color looks amazing too. The last thing I have, and I believe I have this in my shop too, I provide a monthly notes page, and I love my monthly notes page because I can randomly go back to the back of my notebook where the month is and just jot notes down. Whether it's leading into the next month and things I have to remember, or how something I want to make sure I don't forget to transfer something or do something before the next month, whatever it is, you can put that there and it will keep you on track for whatever you have planned for the future. So those are my budget sheets for the month of November, for the month of March. Oh my goodness, what is wrong with me? I cannot speak today. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy in this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you liked, and subscribe to my channel. See more of these budget videos. And I hope you have an amazing and blessed day. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.